Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. I actually turned off the wrong thing, so my mic was still muted. Thank you very much for joining me. Of course, it is Tips and Tricks Tuesday and we are doing Colored Pencils 101. And we started this picture last Tuesday with our light source, this little candle here. I will zoom that in a little bit for you and get it so that you can see what's going on here. Okay, so there we go. So we're working on this area here. Our candle is our light source. And as you remember, we were talking about shadows and different ways that the light source is going to come at an object. Now, because this light source is in the front of the honey hive here, the house, the beehive, anything in the back is of course going to be shadowed. Everything in the forefront here is going to have a bit of a light cast from here. Up here close to the candle is going to have the brightest light cast and have, because it is a candle, have more of a yellow tone. As you get further back, it lightens the yellow tone into just a light color of the original color on the beehive, as well as the door here and the window. Now, if you gradually move that light down towards the back or down towards the curvature of the object, it will give you that effect of the light is coming from here and it's being cast down. So today we're going to work on the light. So we're going to work on the lantern and the roof, as well as the branch here. And hopefully if we get that done and can move on, we'll start working on different flowers, because we're not going to use the same effect, the same technique as we used on the hive and on the candle lantern as on the flowers. We're not going to use that gray effect. We're not going to use that grayscale effect. We're going to use a different effect to get the shadowing and the light sources on these flowers. So of course we are still using the Starjoy colored pencils. I'm going to switch you over to the other camera. Let me move some things around here so that we can get a close-up view of this. All right. So as you can see, our light source is here. So it's casting the yellow light in a circle around it. And then, of course, the glow is lighting up these areas here as well. This part here is, of course, the back, and that's why it has the shadow there. So we're going to work on the roof line here, and we're going to use hopefully a terracotta color. I really should just pull my, I am going to do that. I'm going to pull my color chart because my brain's not working this morning. Usually if I've been using a set for a while, I don't really need to pull the color chart too much, but it's always a good thing to have handy. So I've got my color chart here, and oh, sorry about that, guys. I should have thought about this earlier, but I thought, oh, I can do it. All right. So we've got our color chart, and we're going to work on the roof line here. So we're going to start with, I think, cinnamon, which is in this area. Oh, that's sienna. So I think it's here. think it's in the other one. Yep, there it is. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to work from the back to the front. So or from the front to the back. So in the front we're going to use a lighter tone. And then as we get closer to the back, it will be lighter. Of course, we're going to add some yellow to this area as well because of the lantern. I hope everybody is doing well today. Last week we had a role for the giveaway, and that person has not contacted me yet. So next week, if I still don't hear from her, I will re-roll and find another person for the giveaway. So I'm just taking this and I'm just doing a very light layer. We will go through and add more of the color as we go. I've got some shadow areas from the shingles and stuff like that that I'm going to use a different color on to enhance. But for now, we're just going to put a very light layer of this cinnamon all the way up to where the shadow area is. And like I said, I will be going through and adding to it. So we'll just do this part first. And I am going to mute you all for just a moment. I do apologize. I forgot to turn off the sound on the television. So I'm going to be right back. I'm just going to mute the television so that it's not interrupting my train of thought. So just stare at this pretty picture just for a moment. All right, guys, sorry about that. So we've got that all muted. So now we're just going to, like I said, just put a thin layer of this cinnamon. Now if you swatch your pencils by color number, that is number 102. All right, now we're going to take burnt ochre, which is, I think this one. Yeah. And we're going to go over the back areas here. So where there's shadow, we're going to use the burnt ochre. And we're also going to bring it in down here, right on top of that cinnamon, because this area here isn't going to be as light as this area here. So anything that is off to the side is going to be darker than the area closer to the light, of course. So we're going to just go over everything with this burnt ochre, I know I'm saying it wrong. Makes me self-conscious now. But we're going to cover everything from this area pretty much all the way down to, like, just diagonally from this point down to about this point here, so that the light cast can graduate. So that our colors are gradual in our shadow. Now, of course, we don't have to put in the gray. We can do this with other colors. And at some point we will actually do a picture. Well, actually I will be showing you on the flowers how to do your shadowing with just color without adding the extra grayscale. The grayscale was just an additional lesson of how to enhance or how to add your shadow areas without worrying about shadow colors as much. Let's see, if I hadn't added those gray tones, I would have other work to do making those shadows pop out more. Alright, so now we're going to use raw umber, which should be this one, but I need to sharpen it because it is not sharp. Okay, so we're just going to go down in the very, very darkest areas with this raw umber. Make sure that those are darkened up a bit. Now, the way that the artist has drawn this part of the roof, it makes it a little bit more difficult to make sure that those shadows are right. But it's just a part of it being round. Makes it a little bit more difficult to draw it appropriately. Make sure that you put in your shadow around the hook. And anywhere that you put that gray, put this raw umber over top of it, just to give it that extra little bit of oomph. And of course, that's it. Make sure that the shingles stick out a bit. I hope you all enjoyed the Collection Mania Monday video yesterday on the Filas. I did actually go through those and re-swatch them so that they're all on one page. It makes it a lot easier to find the colors you want. Well, for me anyway. That and my swatch book is getting really full, and I really didn't want to get another one. Is that bad? It's bad that I would just rather re-swatch them than get another book. Okay, so now our roof line is done with the darkest colors. Now we're going to go back over it with this cinnamon and enhance that color. First we're going to take our yellow. Let's do that first. And we're going to add some yellow tone to this area here. I'm going to turn the light on here because, oh, sorry guys, I didn't mean to blind you. because it suddenly just got very dark in my house. I don't know why. Okay, so we're just going to enhance this area here with the yellow tone to show where that lantern light is shining. I'm going to turn you here for a little bit. Now I'm trying to go in the opposite direction that I went the first time around. So I went this way. So now I'm trying to do the opposite and go from side to side just to fill in all that white spot. Now of course we will use our blender pencil to fill in any excess, so don't worry about it too much. But I find that if you go in the opposite direction of the first layer, you can get a better even layer all the way across. Now we're into our darker shadow area here, so make sure that you don't overtake that shadow, so don't push too hard, otherwise that lighter color will overtake the darker color and eliminate your shadow. If that happens, just take your darker color and go over it again. Not much of a big deal, but not something you want to do either. Okay, so our roof line is done. Now, I made a boo-boo, so we're going to actually erase that boo-boo because I didn't want to do that yet. So I put the yellow on the fascia board here, and I didn't want to do that yet. So I'm going to erase that. And get rid of it. Of course, we will go back through and add that yellow later, but at this moment we don't want that on there. So I want the fascia boards to be the same as the door and the window, so we're going to use the blues. So I have ultramarine here, which I'm going to use in the back side. That is away from that lantern light. Now, this area here we know is not going to get hit by that lantern. So we can definitely put that a little bit darker back there because that's where the lantern isn't going to hit. Now there's some yellow coming from this window here. Sorry, I've moved you out of screen. There's some yellow coming from this window here, so there's a light pattern coming from this window here, as well as the light pattern from the lantern. So when you get to eraser dust on my picture here. When you get to this point, you want to lighten up really, really light and just put in a very small amount of that color just to see where it goes. And then you can darken up a little bit more up here and up around the edge of the roof line where that roof is overhanging, because the light's not going to get into that area. Just lighten up your hand as you get closer to that light. As you get closer to that lantern light, lighten up your hand. As you get closer to the window, lighten up your hand. Just make sure that you leave enough of a shadow from that roof line onto the fascia board so that you still keep and maintain that illusion of 3 dimensions. Now we're going to take a lighter blue and we're going to fill that in a bit. Let's see, what color did I use? I think sky blue. That's primary. No, sky blue is a little bit darker than primary, so we're going to go with sky blue from here, and we're just going to take it out a little bit from the fascia boards and blend that in, and then we'll go with primary blue from the fascia boards down for those areas that that are exposed to the light, and then we will go in and put touches of yellow into those areas just to show that the light is hitting them. So I'm just taking the primary blue and just giving it a touch. And just like the window here, you can do the same thing with the fascia boards. You can go through and just erase part of the color to show that the light is hitting it. Okay, now we're going to take our yellow. And it's just subtle little changes. It's not, huge color changes. They're all pretty much the same tone, just different shades. So we've got some yellow going in here from that window, and we have some yellow going in here from the lantern. Now don't press too hard, otherwise you're going to get green. And then we've got a little tiny bit on the edges here. And of course, like I said, we can make that edge known that there's light there just by adding a bit of an eraser movement there so that it erases that very, very edge. Now we're going to take our blending pencil and we're just going to move all 3 of these blues together. Try not to blend that yellow in too much because we want it to stay yellow, not green. Just like that. Alright, so there is, oh no, we've still got the doorknob to do. I was going to say there is our little bees hive, but we've still got the doorknob to do, so let us find our silver. Now we've already added some gray. Now because silver is a very encompassing color, when you go over even the darkest of colors with it, you will find that that silver color has eliminated all of your shadow. So what I normally do, and I'm just trying to find it here, is I take my black and I go over that shadow area with the black. Not extremely hard, but hard enough that when I go over it with the silver is going to show darker in those areas. I need to sharpen. Seems all my pencils need sharpening today. Okay, So as you can see, the silver has picked up that black color and has moved over top of it. It's not eliminating it, but if I would have left that the gray, it would have eliminated it completely because it's the same tone. Okay, so there's our hive done. Now we're going to work on the lantern here, and I want that to be a bronzy kind of golden color. So I'm going to take the gold pencil, which I need to sharpen. I've already got some gray down, but in order to give it that bronzy gold kind of look, that aged gold kind of look, we need some browns. So let's grab walnut brown, should be this one, and Indian red, should be this one. Yeah. Now the reason for the Indian red, of course, is to give it that aged look. And a little bit of red, a little bit of brown into the golden colors will give it more of an aged look. Because it's outside, we want it to look like it is outside. So we're going to take the Indian red and we're going to go into these shadow areas here. And we're not going to, overtake the entire area. We're just going to put enough in that it gives that shadow a bit of visualization. This part here we're going to take over the whole area, and this part here we're just going to come down and come up. Now you got to remember that this part here is seen with the yellow, so we're going to take the yellow and we're going to fill that in. Same with this, we're going to fill this in with yellow. The top part here is going to be shadowed a little bit, and this part here we're going to fill in with yellow and the bottom part is going to be shadowed. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our gold colors and we're just going to bring this down enough that it still looks like it's a golden object with light shining off of it. Now make sure that you don't do too much on the top, because that's the area that is being affected by the light. So now we're going to take in our little bit of brown here. And we're just going to go over it. And we're going over all of the shadow area at this point with our reds and our browns. Which will give us that effect that we want from the candle. Now we're going to take the golden color and we're just going to go over the entire thing up here on the top. And as you can see, it does take over a little bit of that color, which is pretty much what we wanted. We just want that color to stay there as a shadow enhancement. If we were to use black, it probably wouldn't, it would work, but it wouldn't show the age of the lantern being outside and that sort of thing. So make sure that you go over all of your shadow areas. You can go down into the yellow just a touch. Just make sure that you leave some of it there to show the light. But you get to show that this is still golden color. No, it's not going to be bright yellow gold because it's out in the elements. So that's one of the reasons why I like using the gold pencil, is because it does have a bit of a brown tinge to it, a brown hue or tint or whatever you want to call it. So it gives that bronzed effect quite nicely. Okay. Now, of course, we're not done with the lantern. We've just done the outside of the lantern. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got enough of the yellow there to make sure that this does look like it's lit up. And at this point, I'm not worried about it taking over the gold. It's just going to blend it at this point. So I'm just going over the whole area that I want the light to shine through. Now we're going to take a lighter yellow and we're going to use, I think this is it, yeah, Naples light yellow. And we're going to color the candle. Need to sharpen that because it's really a small area. Now the reason why I'm not doing the candle white is because it's going to have a yellow hint to it as well as a bit of an orange hint to it. So I'm using that light color to make sure that any other colors that I'm going to put on top of it are going to get knocked down a little bit. So the candle itself is going to look like it's white. And of course, in order to do that, especially when you're adding yellows and stuff like that, you just got to make it a bit of a lighter color than yellow. And then we just blend it all in together. And that gives you that effect of candlelight. Now we're going to take this yellow, and this yellow is lemon yellow. And we're going to take that's not the one. I need my yellow sheet. So I need cadmium orange, which I think is this one. Yeah, that'll work. And this one. Yep. Okay, so we've got 3 different colors here. We've got red, yellow, and orange. And it's all going to go in the little tiny spot there. So make sure that your pencils are really sharp, because the detail work and working in such a small area, if you don't have a really sharp pencil, you're going to end up with a color that overtakes another color, especially if you're working with a light color and dark colors, and you don't want your dark colors to overtake your light color. So we'll put the dark colors in first, and then the light color. So first we're going to put in this little bit of red just up the center of the flame. That's it. That's all that's for. And then we're going to take this little bit of orange and just go around that little center piece there. And then we're going to take our yellow and we're going to go around the whole thing. And we're just going to build all the way around. And we're just going to go all the way around the areas. Now I'm not going to go too far out because that's another thing altogether for the background. But we will talk about that when we get to it. But I am going to go out just a bit from the lantern here, just so that you can see how that light moves. And connects with the other object. Okay, now we're going to take a little bit of gray and we're going to use charcoal gray, and we're going to add that to the window pane in the lantern. The reason for this is, of course, because we want to be able to see that there's a window there, and because it's nighttime you can't really, put a blue color to the glass because of course glass is see-through. But if we add a bit of darkness, it gives you the effect that there's a night sky behind it and that the glass is picking that up. Now if you find that you have too much, you can of course, take your eraser and just erase it a little bit. I have one side that's a little bit uneven, and I'm finding that this gray might have been a little bit too dark, so I'm just taking it down a notch. Just like that. Now of course we're going to do this thing here, which is holding it onto the branch. Okay, and that's our lantern as well. So as you can see, the lantern itself is giving off the light that is hitting this area here. We're also going to bring that lantern light this way, away from the lantern, as well as down from the lantern. So that light is going to hit everything in this area, in a circular area around the lantern. The reason why most lanterns are made with metals is metal reflects light. So gold is going to reflect the light, brass is going to reflect the light, all those fun things are going to reflect that light. So that light will be refracted off of the lantern in all directions out of the little windows all the way around. Now you just have to assume that the back side of the lantern, as well as both sides of the lantern and the front of the lantern, all have windows, and the light is coming out of all those windows. So you have to pretty much do a big circle all the way around the lantern that the light is going to hit. And you can do that either by putting a circle there, drawing a circle there, or just following a diameter. You just go from the center point, which is your lamp, which is your candle, and just go, a reasonable distance for that kind of light. If this was a fluorescent light bulb, I'd of course go further. It's a little tiny candle and probably a birthday candle, so not a lot of light coming from it. Okay, so that is that for now. We're going to work on the yeah, I don't want to work on the wood today because I want to do the flowers first. And I don't want to work on the background until I have all of the other things done. So let's work on a couple of the different flowers here. Now, as you know, like I said, the lantern's back side here is going to be hitting this flower here. So we're going to make sure that we cover the tips of this flower's petals with some lantern light. Now I'm doing that first because the color that I'm putting down next for these flowers is a lighter color, and I want the lantern light to stand out. I don't want the lighter color to take it over. So we're going to use some pinks on these flowers. And we're going to use Bengal Rose Deep as well as Rose Pink. And we're not going to put any shadows in. We're going to shadow things with color this time around. Well, we did last time too with the gray. But this time we're just going to use the colors of the flower. So I'm using the Bengal Rose Deep in the areas that are going to be shadowed. Areas furthest away from that lamplight. Like I said before, you can tell where those shadows are going to be. The artist has given you clues. You just have to follow those clues. So these lines here, if you bring your color, your deeper color, all the way out to the very edge of that line, you will have a better effect than if you were to stay inside of, like, just follow the line with your pencil. If you color right across from that line, it does give you a better effect, a better darkening, a better shadow than if you were just to put a line there. Now, as you can see, I'm not going into that yellow a whole lot because I don't want to take it over, because this is a light tone and the yellow is a light tone, and the tips of these flowers are typically white. I don't want to go too deep into that area with the pink and turn that yellow into an orange. I will further down the flower, but at the very tip there, I don't want to do that. Like this area here, I don't mind it being a little bit orange. It's not going to be a whole lot orange because it is pink, not red. But that red undertone will still get picked up in that yellow if you're not careful. So we're going to take that yellow again, And we're just going to bring it in a little bit and brighten it up a bit on the edges here. Now there's a bit of a catch-22 with doing it this way. Yes, you can maintain that color effect, but unfortunately you also end up with a little bit of a lineage because you don't want to blend it too much and lose that color. So, and you can definitely blend that out a bit. That's not a problem. It's just sometimes you gotta be really light-handed and bring those colors together over and over again to eliminate that bit of a line where your colors meet. Now I have been racking my brain on whether or not I should put the centers of these flowers as like little lights, but I don't think I will, because I think I want to focus more on the shadows that this branch is going to create as we move further back. If I was to make all of these lights, showing you this light formation here becomes pretty much obsolete because all of these would light up the entire area. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to leave them regular cute little flowers. And we're going to do the center here, a little bit of red, or a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of orange. And that's about it. I'm going to try not to, color everything. And I have, oh, there it is. Lost my blending pencil. So of course, because of the fact that we want this to blend those lines out, work from your lightest color into your darkest color. Do it in strokes, not in a motion where it's going to eliminate those colors. And just move, like I said, from your lightest color to your darkest color, right over top of those areas that you're trying to eliminate the line. Okay, so now this one here is also in that direction of light, so it is also going to require having the edges done in yellow. So we'll do this one and then we're going to call it a day. And I think next week we will look more at how to color the bee, how to do wings, more on how to do the flowers and the wood from the trees, as well as the background. Okay, so let's put some yellow here on the very tip of the flower. Now this one is a little bit further away from the light source, so we don't really have to put it as bright further down the flower. So if you just do very tips, that would work too, especially with the areas that are furthest away. Like this part here isn't going to get any of that light because it's too far away. We're going to bring in our shadow color. And we're going to bring that all the way in to the edge of that line. Watch where your shadows are on the inside of this flower petal. Now you got to remember this is the inside of the flower. So it's going to get a bit of the light. The back side of that might not. And this one here, it's not going to get any of that light on that back side. Just going to blend that color together and bring that darker color into that lighter color. Just like that. Now if you find that your darker colors are a little bit subdued and you want them to be brighter, just brighten them up. You can definitely do that. Just make sure that you keep in mind where your shadows are going to be, where your overlap is, because that's one of your shadow areas, is your overlap, as well as where the light's coming from. Okay. And we're just going to add some yellow with some orange for the little center here. And this technique can be used for, coloring any floral entities. We will go through and look closer at how to color these floral things. These are more of a bud, so we'll look at how to color these larger open flowers as well as the little tiny buds and the wood of the tree as well as the bee, and we'll look at how to do wings and baskets and of course backgrounds. So we've got one little spot there that we hadn't finished up, so let's finish that up first. We forgot to do the hanger. So I've got the walnut brown here and I'm just bringing that in to all those shadow areas. And then we'll take the golden color and we're just going to go right on in. Like this is the darker area of the hanger. So where the gold is going to be, it's going to of course be a little bit lighter than where the brown is. So it's still going to reflect that light and the fact that that light's hitting it, but it's not going to reflect that it's glaring off of it, if that makes sense. Alright guys, well thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful. Today we've looked at how to do the lantern as well as the light, how to do the roof and the fascia boards, as well as how to do the flowers that are being touched by the light. Next week we will look at bees' wings, as well as how to do more motion coming from the light, hitting the bee, hitting the wings, things like that, as well as the flowers, and then we will do the background area and how to make that lantern light shine. I hope that was helpful for everybody. I do thank you all very much for joining me. Of course, like, comment, and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. If you're not already a subscriber to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. I do put out a video every day. I do have 2 live events every week on Wednesday and Saturday. So please hit the bell. It will let you know whenever I'm live or whenever a video comes up. Of course, we do have a Facebook group, so if you want to join us over on Facebook, please feel free to do so. Of course, the link is in the About section below. Just make sure that you fill out all the application questions so that our administration team can get you in as quickly as possible. So with the other camera here, you can see better where that lamp light is coming from and how it's hitting that area. Of course, we will extend that a bit and work with that next time. If you have any suggestions for any of the videos, please do leave me a comment below about anything that you want to see that I haven't already talked about. Make sure that you take a look at the different playlists, I guess they're called, because I have done many different things on the channel already, but I have them separated into a playlist for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and special Sunday. So if you have something that you want to see and you're not sure if I've already done it, take a look in one of those. Monday would be Collection Mania Monday. So that's where all of my collections are. So any pencils or anything like that that are in my collection, I will put in there. Tips and Tricks Tuesday, of course, is any tips and tricks and different things that I want to show you how to do. Work in Progress Wednesday is, of course, a color and chat where I will work on things that I have already started or start something new, depending upon the day. Thankful Thursday, of course, is where I let you know that whether or not I've got some happy mail and show you all the wonderful things that I get in my happy mail, and say thank you to those that have either sent them to me or show appreciation for each and every one of my subscribers who support me every month. And of course, Fun Stuff Friday is of course the fun stuff, and that's always where I will put reviews as well as swatches and other things like that for different pencil sets, pens, markers, and other things that I'm reviewing. So if any of those areas are of interest to you, and you have questions for those types of areas, please check in there. If you don't find what you want to see in there, leave me a comment in any video letting me that you would like to see something about that, and I would do my best to get that to you. Of course, hit the like button. It tells me what you enjoy in my videos so that I can continue bringing them to you. Last but, well, not even last, my goodness, the end of my videos has become just such a huge ordeal. I do have to let you know for legal reasons that I am an Amazon affiliate, so any of my links does include a Amazon affiliation link. So it connects you to my account, and anything you purchase on Amazon after clicking that link does give me a couple of pennies in a commission for the channel. That is one of the best ways to, of course, support the channel, is by making sure that you click on those links. when you do your purchases. Of course, last but not least is thank you so much for watching, and always remember to relax, color, and stay safe. All right, guys, you have a fantastic day. I will see you tomorrow for Work in Progress Wednesday. I hope you will come and color with me. All right, bye bye for now, guys.